We have had breaking news in the NFL within the last hour, and that is it's being reported that Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions are expected to part ways at some point in this offseason, which begs the question, where will Matthew Stafford play in 2021? Well, if you ask me, the possibilities are nearly endless, as I anticipate that nearly half of the teams in the NFL are going to be looking to invest in a new quarterback for 2021. So I have a list of all the teams that I think are possibly going to try to find a new quarterback heading into 2021. And let's start with the Jaguars. Number one overall pick, I'd say no possibility that Stafford will be a part of the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are fully committed to Trevor Lawrence being their franchise quarterback, so Jacksonville's out. Next is the New York Jets. And the New York Jets, this is an interesting one because it's being rumored that Deshaun Watson prefers the Jets over the Dolphins as a trade destination. But do the Jets want to sacrifice 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson, as it went around earlier this week that a GM said that we don't know which NFL GM it was, but it was said that Deshaun Watson trading for him would require at least 3 first-round draft picks in return. And I don't think the Jets should be willing to do that to get Deshaun Watson. I think if you're the Jets with a new head coach in Robert Saleh, I think you just use the draft capital you have to try to build around a quarterback. Whether if it's Sam Darnold or if it's not Sam Darnold, wait to see the Lions. If they release Matthew Stafford, then sign him to maybe a 1 or 2 year deal. And if it doesn't pan out with the Jets, with the draft capital they have, then look for a quarterback in 2023, 2024. But the New York Jets, I think it's a real possibility that Stafford will be part of that Jets organization. I could definitely see that. Moving on to the Panthers. They could be a dark horse in this, but I just can't see it. I feel like if the Panthers would invest in a new quarterback, they're one of the teams I think could use one. I think they would do it in the draft, whether it's trade up for Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. But I'd say the Panthers, I think they're out. For the Texans, as they're the next team on this list, the only way that Stafford's going to be a part of this Texans team if it's through a blockbuster trade with Deshaun Watson. And I don't think the Lions just want to give up 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson. Although there are a couple solid receivers and you got a really solid tight end in TJ Hockenson for the Lions for Deshaun Watson to throw to. But I just don't know if the Lions, with a team like the Lions, would they be willing to give up 3 first-round picks? I just can't see it, so I think Houston's out. Next is Philadelphia. And Philadelphia, well, it's unknown whether the starting quarterback will be Carson Wentz or Jalen Hurts, or it's going to be either one of them. But I think personally that Carson Wentz is fine. I think that if this were to go down with Stafford as an Eagle, it involved Carson Wentz going to the Lions, and I really don't think the Lions want to handle Carson Wentz's contract. Plus, I think Carson Wentz is doing just fine at Philadelphia. He's just getting let down by an offensive line that is injury prone, and the Eagles have failed to find a top receiver, a top go-to receiver for Carson Wentz. So I think if the Eagles just draft smarter, Carson Wentz can be a really good quarterback for the Eagles moving forward. So I'm putting the Eagles as out. Now, the next team is the Colts. Philip Rivers announced his retirement earlier in the Colts offseason, so there's no doubt they'll be looking at a quarterback, unless they want to go to Jacoby Brissett as the QB1 going into 2021, but I honestly doubt that. Plus, I'm putting Indianapolis out of this equation because the Colts just signed a veteran quarterback. It did get into the playoffs, but I just don't know if they want to go through that process again with Stafford. So I'm putting the Colts. I think the Colts are out. Next, this is an interesting one. But the Washington football team, it's been said that Alex Smith, that he could come back to the Washington football team in 2021. The organization has been open to him coming back in 2021. They want him back in 2021. But with Matthew Stafford potential on the table in free agency, would that change their mind? I think it's quite a possibility. But I'm putting Washington as out. Well, maybe not necessarily out, but I think it's on the fence. I'd say it depends on what the Washington football team, what they think they can accomplish with the NFL draft and throughout the offseason. I'd say Washington's on the fence. I think they're a deep sleeper in this kind of scenario. Next, the 49ers. As far as the 49ers is concerned, this could be the best fit for Matthew Stafford. Kyle Shanahan is a quarterback genius. Every quarterback that has been coached under Kyle Shanahan or that's been coordinated against under Kyle Shanahan has put up really good numbers. But I just don't think the 49ers are going to be willing to sign a veteran like Matthew Stafford. While you have Jimmy Garoppolo, while he has had a couple of injuries throughout his career so far with San Francisco, I just think you can't take away the 2019 season that Garoppolo had. So I think the 49ers, I think they're out. Next, this is one of my bold predictions here. The Denver Broncos. Now, it's been rumored that the Broncos, they're not sold on Drew Lock as their franchise quarterback. And I honestly believe it. Plus, I think John Elway sees a bit of himself in Matthew Stafford. Both first overall draft picks, both have had a lot of fight left in him in their early 30s. Stafford has a lot of fight left in him in his early 30s, and John Elway also had a lot to give to the Broncos in his early 30s. Plus, the Broncos have a really good history with winning Super Bowls with quarterbacks towards the later portion of their career. So the Broncos, I think they're a team that is in this hunt for Matthew Stafford. So far, the two teams I think that are in the hunt for Matthew Stafford the most are the Jets, which the Jets are only in this because I think they're just waiting to see if the Lions were to release Matthew Stafford, and the Denver Broncos. Next, the New Orleans Saints. It's unknown whether or not Drew Brees will officially retire. Many think that he will, based off of he gave the Superdome one last look before going to the tunnel after the game. But New Orleans, I don't know. I think they're out. I'd lean towards them being out because there was also a video that went around about Drew Brees mouthing the words, "This is your team now," to Jameis Winston. So I think New Orleans is out. Pittsburgh Steelers, I think they're out with signing Dwayne Haskins to the one-year deal. So I anticipate Haskins either being the backup to Roethlisberger, for Roethlisberger having one last season, his swan song season, or Haskins starts for a year, and then after that they'll look for a quarterback in the 2022 NFL Draft. Next is the Patriots. Now the Patriots, I think they're realistically one of the favorites to land Matthew Stafford because the Patriots hired Matt Patricia this week on their staff. So Matt Patricia already knows Matthew Stafford's game. So I think the Patriots, I think they're in this race for Stafford. Next, Atlanta. Right now you have Matt Ryan, a veteran quarterback. I really don't think they're going to want to bring in a new veteran quarterback, Matthew Stafford, so Atlanta is out. And finally, the team that I personally think, my bold prediction to sign Matthew Stafford. Get ready. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if they play and win on February 7th, Tom Brady will retire while he's on top, and the Buccaneers will sign or trade for Matthew Stafford. Why? Because Bruce Arians is really good. He's talented at coaching quarterbacks in the later portions of their career. And Matthew Stafford would have very good receivers at Tampa Bay with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, maybe Antonio Brown, but he could retire too if the Buccaneers were to go all the way. Rob Gronkowski will probably retire if they go all the way as well. I think the Buccaneers would be a really good fit for Matthew Stafford, although I do think the 49ers would be a little bit of a better fit. I think Tampa Bay is in this race for Matthew Stafford, believe it or not. As far as who I think is going to sign Matthew Stafford or who Matthew Stafford will play for in 2021, as I said a moment ago, if they play and win on the 7th of February, the Buccaneers. But if that isn't the case, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. You heard it here first. Matthew Stafford will be the next quarterback of the Denver Broncos if the Buccaneers don't play and win on February 7th. So comment your prediction down below, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time.